Thanks to the supporters of channel member Tim Babbage. I don't want to talk about the playoffs. We're not going to think about the playoffs ever again. What we are going to do is put together a team right now that can just win the league next year, so we don't ever have to worry about the playoffs again. Hello and welcome to part 17 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, it is our season review and transfer special at the end of a season where we didn't get promoted. And that's the only way we need to phrase it. We did finish third in the league, 94 points, an incredibly good season. We're better than everybody else in this league who didn't get promoted. So we just need to fine tune and tweak the squad, I think, over the course of this summer. We've got, as usual, in non-league, about half of them either at the end of their loan or at the end of their contract. So there's some decisions we're going to have to make, particularly around the likes of Jamal Blackman, Romeo Beckham, Jack Morehouse is out of contract, Cabia's out of contract. So we're going to have to throw a few new contracts around fairly early on, and we're going to be losing our loans. It'd be nice if we could maybe extend Klemencic and McWilliams, who we didn't get for very long, but were both very good. If we could extend them for another year, that would be great. And we also have a few retirements as well. Mark Little, Matt Derbyshire, Ben Tozer, all going to be retiring. As far as money is concerned, we are very quickly running up some debts. Not my fault. No, not my fault. But as you can see on our current committed spending, we're barely underneath the budget that we've got at the moment. Obviously, we're going to have a few of those out of contract players leave, but it's not going to be the massive summer overhaul that we had last year, I don't think. I'll be back either to show you the season review or the contract renewals, whichever one happens first. Oh, what do you know? It was neither of them. We've actually had some budget increases. Even though our financial, I just assumed we wouldn't, so just showed you the budget as it was. But we've got a tiny little bit of transfer budget. That's pathetic. We can't even put it into wage budget. But our wage budget has gone up to just under 15,000. So we've actually $2,000 a week under it on our committed spend, and we'll become further under it as some of the contract expiries leave. So there might be a few more players coming in than I initially thought. I still need to decide on the contract renewals. And what do you know? It's the season review. So let's do this while we're here. So signing of the season has gone to nobody. Nobody gets it. Okay, fair enough. We made some good signings, I think. We finished third, average attendance of 850. That needs to improve for sure. That's going to hold this club back and might mean that I need to move on and move up the leagues before Brackley do, because that is not the fan base that we need. Top scorer was Connor Hall, although twice over the course of the season he did lose his spot at the start and at the end. And money-wise, most of it has improved because of the FA Cup run, apart from sponsorships, which somehow are down. Devaney sells more shirts than anybody, which is a little bit of a surprise. And I love the fact that we only sell 160 shirts. That was the team of the year. Dadge in goal, who of course came in January to replace Blackman when he got injured and never gave up his spot. A back four of Murray, Craig, Davies and Banks. Ewing, Knight and Evans are the midfield. Why is Evans in midfield? He was a striker. That's odd. And then Cabia on the left, Beckham on the right, Hall up front. Obviously, we're losing Dadge, and there's a few of these that we know are out of contract. Cabia, Beckham. So we're going to have to make some contract decisions. I mean, the likelihood is those two players both going to get new deals, especially when you look at Beckham getting Fans Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year. Cabia got signing of the season, even though it wasn't awarded on the previous one. Hall, top scorer. Murray, most assists with 20. Beckham, most man of the matches and highest average rating. And Devaney has best pass completion. It's rare to see a midfielder get that, but that's nice. We didn't set any competition records, but we did set some club records. So Joe Knight with that hat-trick, the first player of the save to get a hat-trick. Murray sets the assists in a season record. Blackman the clean sheets in a season record, which is no mean feat considering he only played half the season. Rob Harley is our youngest player ever, and Matt Derbyshire our oldest player ever. Those are records that I expect to stay for quite a long time. And we also set the record for highest transfer fee received, which was Joe Gibbard. We should also be able to see our all-time best 11, which is just a mix of the two seasons teams really. Maxted in goal, Pratt alongside this season's remaining back four, Bates alongside Ewing in midfield, and then Newton and Hall back together again with Bramall and Beckham out wide. That's actually a pretty good team. That 11 never got to play together, but I think it would be quite the side. Weirdly, none of our exciting midfielders in it, though. We've added some new social media followers. Maybe Brackley have finally joined Blue Sky, which I've been waiting for them to. I'm a Blue Sky guy now. Follow me on Blue Sky, at LOLLUJO, like I am everywhere else. But when I release the episodes every day, I tag them on Twitter, I tag them on Threads. Can't tag them on Blue Sky because they're not. They must be there because they've got some more social media followers. And our season expectations for next season to get automatic promotion to the National League. I mean, I said it. I didn't necessarily expect them to insist on it. So that is required. If we don't go up as champions next year, I might get fired. So that's quite the pressure. There you go. We'll tell the boys. They're confident. They're like, yeah, of course we're going to get promoted as champions. Okay, then. I guess we really are putting together a championship winning team. Let's make sure our mentoring groups are sorted. And now I will go and do my contract renewals because I was going to say we're close to the 1st of July. We're not. It's early May. I've got plenty of time to sort contract renewals, but sort them I shall anyway. That's a strange way to phrase that sentence. Yeah, you dropped. Oh, obviously, we've upset Joe Knight. That was a mistake. Don't upset. Oh, we haven't upset him. We've fixed it. Contracts. Well, we have a slight problem with contract renewals. Beckham wanted a significant pay rise. We've managed to get him to agree for around about $850. But Morehouse has already agreed to sign for Shamrock Rovers. I don't even remember that coming through. But we're losing Morehouse. Ruben Curley should be fine, but Ismail Kabia wants $1,500 a week. And we just can't convince, we can't pay him that. We can't convince him to accept anything lower. So negotiations with him have broken down. We will try again as the summer goes on. But at the moment, pretty much anyone can just come in and take him away from us. Plymouth and Portsmouth both want him. Oh, this is a disaster. Yeah, it might be a bigger, more complicated summer than I originally anticipated. See, now this is an interesting situation because in light of that contract problem we've just had, we've now got 2 interview offers. Sutton United, who have just been relegated from the National League, and Solihull Moors, who've just been relegated from the National League. I'll listen to what both of them have to say. Theoretically, as newly relegated teams, they are both bigger clubs. They're not, neither of them are a massive step up, but it's a couple of interviews. Let's go and see what they've got to say, I guess. Well, we didn't get the job at Sutton, which is probably just as well, because when I was in the interview, they said they wanted to get promoted to League 2 next season. I don't think they've realised they've been relegated. So that might be a job that was a little bit beyond me. This is the guy who did get the job, previously assistant manager at Vestri in Iceland. That guy's better than me, apparently. Never managed anyone. He was a player manager there briefly. Mainly an assistant manager, though, who's never managed or played in England. I'm delighted for him. Maybe we'll get the Solihull job. And we also didn't get the Solihull Moors job. They were satisfied with the plans I put forward in the interview, but ultimately decided I wasn't the right person to take the club forward. This guy was Ian Dawes, previously manager of Tranmere. At least he's got some experience. He was also a coach at Blackpool, he's managed Bangor City. He's a former under-18s coach at Liverpool. Yeah, I don't mind losing out to this guy. He's actually a manager. But it does mean it looks like we're going to be staying at Brackley because there's not a lot else available. I'm not really actively looking. Hereford might yet come in for me. Be a disaster if I ended up at Cambridge. I'm not going to jump that high, am I, if I couldn't get the job at Solihull. Worryingly, both Connor Hall and Ismail Kabia both just turned down contracts again. We offered Kabia 1.2k a week and he turned that down. He's on £625 a week at the moment. I think we just have to accept he's going to be leaving. We can't smash the wage structure into smithereens just to fit him in, no matter how good he is. Well, there you go, folks. One day before his contract was due to retire, after having me over a barrel all summer, Kabia has signed a new deal on an extortionate £1,300 a week, plus a load of bonuses. We really shouldn't have done it, but I feel like he's probably someone we can sell on for good money at some point. He had a great first season for us. And as we're already losing a few boys like Morehouse, like the Loneys, kind of felt I had to. We also extended Connor Hall's contract for another season, if I can find him. He's done a 1-year deal on a slight pay rise, even though, I mean, he's a frustration. 2.5 stars suggests I'm probably going to want to replace him. He doesn't play the style I want him to play. I've replaced him multiple times in the team, but he consistently ends up our top scorer on a good match rating. So I might just have to play him all season and see what happens. None of the loans are possible to extend. And we've still got a few boys who are out of contract in tomorrow. So Blackman, Coker, we've got the non-contract boys who've come in. Morehouse, who of course is leaving, all the loanees leaving. And our committed spending is remarkably and worryingly high. I think that's the same glitch that we had last summer. And fingers crossed when these guys actually leave. I think it's because I've not set them for release. But when they actually go, that will come down massively. And then we can do our usual 1st of July, trying to bring in some cheapos. We need cheapos, please. And there is your confirmation of all of the players who've left the club. So Blackman and Coker are the headline ones from the first team squad. Lots of the youth players have gone as well. There's a few players out of contract at the end of next year, which we're absolutely not going to worry about now. It's a year in advance and we're a non-league team. That's madness. Charlie Clough is the new manager of Banbury. Have Banbury been promoted? Banbury have been promoted. Banbury are in our league. We've got a local derby in the league. Solihull, who I didn't get the job at, are the favourites for promotion this year. We're only second favourites, which is a worry because the board do expect me to win the league. It's a requirement, which it's fine. But now those players have left. Oh, that's worrying. Oh, that is worrying because we've not got any money really. There you have it. It's now the 1st of July. We do have a little bit, so a couple more left. Some of the loanees left. Our first team squad is looking small. Have we got anyone to bring up? We do not. So our first team squad is 18 players, 3 of which are on non-contracts. I don't know why Drummond's still here. In fact, goes back to crew today. So let's just get him out of the way. So it's actually 17 players, 2 of which are non-contracts, 1 of which is a youth player who's our backup goalkeeper, Rob Harley. I say backup, he's our only goalkeeper currently. So at the moment, I guess he's our starting goalkeeper. We need players. We need quite a few players and we don't have a lot of money. So I think we're going to be relying on loans, having to do those extended contracts, big money contracts for Cabia and Beckham and Hall. I mean, they've got to be our front 3. We can't bring in fancy, expensive options over the top of them because we're spending so much money on them. We can probably afford 2 or 3 free transfers and then top out the rest of the squad with loans. So we've got to be discerning, and we definitely, at the very least, need a goalkeeper because Rob Harley cannot be our starting keeper next year. Still only 16 years old. We've got all the left backs under the sun. Because obviously we brought Aston and Amiri in right at the end of last season. We've only got Banks at right back. We've only really got 2 centre-backs in Craig and Davies, so we need another centre-back. Ewing, Curley and Knight can all play defensive midfield. And then you throw Devaney into the mix. I mean, really, that's probably enough midfield players, maybe 1 more central midfielder. But we need someone who can come in and play on the wings. We've only got the 3 wingers, Bramall, Cabia and Beckham. We need 1 more who can ideally play both sides. And then somebody to compete with Connor Hall because it's not likely to be Giovanni Robertson. So I guess if we're signing 3 or 4 permanents, we need at least 1 goalkeeper, a right back, a centre-back, and a winger who can play up front, and then some good loans. It's going to be a challenge. Well, we've addressed a couple of the positions we needed and are close to being spent up in doing it, but we importantly have a goalkeeper, Ross Laidlaw, 34-year-old Scottish goalkeeper. He's 6'4". He's better than Rob Harley. They were basically the 2 elements of the criteria. Played 16 times in the Scottish Premiership for Ross County last season, so hopefully he can handle the step up to the National League North. But otherwise, good signing, I think. Owen Farmer is our new striker, 21-year-old English centre-forward who can also play anywhere across the attacking midfield. 3.5 stars of current ability, 5-star potential. He's only 5'3", which isn't ideal, but he is quick and did play 3 times in the Premier League for Wolves last season. So hopefully going to have some goals in him. If he doesn't work out as a striker, we'll just stick him in behind, Hall and let him run around and create some stuff. And then Jaden Camerson, is right back, who can also play left back. He's got 3 stars of current ability, 5 stars of potential, comes in from Manchester United, and is better than Banks at right back, and almost as good as the left backs that we've got as well. So the squad is starting to look a little deeper, with a decent keeper and a backup. Still all the left backs, more left backs than we could ever possibly need. I think we're going to let McGinn leave. Yeah, we'll just release him on a free. He's on a non-contract. We may as well get him gone. I'm actually tempted to I think I'll let him go as well, because they do count towards your wage budget, these non-contract players. So we'll bin both of those off. We still need another centre-back, so that's something we're working on. We are scouting some loan players, but I think we're probably good at right-back, especially because hopefully Ashton McWilliams is coming back in on loan. We're going to have to pay all of his salary, but it's only £275 a week. And for a guy who's almost a goal a game right-back, worth bringing in, might end up playing him at centre-back. We'll just convert him. He's 6'5", convert him to play centre-back. I think it'll be fine. In midfield, we probably still need another body, but I'm really looking at the loans for that. Likewise, on the wing, we could do with one more, but that one more might end up being Farmer if he's too small to be a striker. And regardless, I think we'll find an attacker in amongst the loans that we're going to have available to us. So we'll do another round of trials, because we've got maybe room for 1 or 2 more permanent players, and then fill up our loan spots. And the squad is taking shape nicely. There you go. With those 2 coming off the wage budget, it does take it down just a smidgen, which is good. We like to take things down a smidgen. We've got a couple of loans and a couple of young stars in. So Ashton McWilliams has returned. All 6'5" of him as our goal scoring right back. He's on loan from Chesterfield for the season. Do have to remember I have to play him as a fullback, so can't convert him to a centre back, which is not ideal. And then we've also got in Edwin Daffern, who is a midfielder who comes in from McDonald's. Centre mid, can also play attacking mid and defensive midfield as well. Another relatively cheap loan. He was on loan at Hampton and Richmond last year. And was all right. He was fine. He was fine for them, and he'll be fine for us, I'm sure. And then our 2 exciting youngsters, Asha Agbinone is a 20-year-old Nigerian winger, natural on both wings. Could also potentially learn to play up front, although he's not much of a finisher. But he is previously of Crystal Palace, had a loan with Carrick Rangers, where he was fine. And then Farid Alpha Ruprecht is a 20-year-old German former under-19 international right winger, can also play on the left. He's quick, he's a big strong boy, and he is out of Manchester City, where he played for them in the Premier League last year. That means he's probably quite good. We do still have a few gaps in the squad and absolutely no money. So we've got a couple of boys that we're offering out, because I don't think we're going to need Bramall now that we've got the 2 new boys in. We probably didn't need to give Cabia that crazy contract. If we'd have known these 2 were coming in, no way Cabia gets that money. Hopefully that will be a lesson learned. But Bramall we've offered out. Beckham's another one who we're paying a lot of money to, who might not get much game time. We might even try and get Beckham playing central midfield. We might get him training to play there. His dad could do it, so he must be able to do it too. That's the logic. Daffern, though, can come straight into the midfield. And then at right back, I'm offering out Lewis Banks, because, again, we've got Camerson, we've got McWilliams. We don't need 3 players who can play there. The same argument could probably be had at left back, where we've got Murray, Aston and Amiri, but Murray's now injured, so we probably do need the extra ones there. We really need a centre-back, though. That's the area where we're most weak, and with a week to go until the start of the season, that is now the priority. The media, once again, think we're favourites to go up as champions, which is jolly nice. And you can see some of our new signings have made it into the Dream 11. Agbinone, Camerson, Aston, all in the Dream 11. But we need a centre-back. And we need one now. And we found our defender. Joe Ellison is a Scottish 20-year-old centre-back who can also play in defensive midfield. He's only 5'10", so not ideal. Also, he's come in injured, which is also not ideal, but he's got lots of potential. And unlike most Scottish players, we can actually get him on loan until the end of the season. So he is in as well. And the squad is looking pretty good. I'd love another striker. I don't really want to have to rely too much on Connor Hall, although he's a proven goal scorer at this level, so it's not a disaster. We've not yet been able to shift Bramall or Banks out of the club, so at the moment we are over the wage budget just, but we're trying to get those two gone. And if they do get gone, we can potentially bring in another player. And we've also still got 2 more loans that we can use. But it is the first day of the new season, and we are starting things off with a bang in our big local derby against Banbury. So that's going to be in the next episode. That's likely to be the team. So a completely new look front 3. Yeah, going to be an interesting one. We obviously have to win, because if we have a look at the club vision, the supporters do kind of want us to beat Banbury every time we play them. So quite important. Also quite important that we start with a win, because we're odds-on favourites to get promoted, and we've got 2 of the best 5 players in the league in the shape of our shiny new wingers. Really regretting that Cabia contract now, but let's not worry about that. That's a problem for future Kev, when Cabia in 18 months is still here earning that kind of money and no one will take him off us because he's so overpaid and he hasn't played for a year. We're not going to worry. What we are going to do is get ourselves ready for Banbury. We need a good night's sleep and extra Weetabix in the morning. But if you've enjoyed that episode, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.